Did you say the grinder? Tracer asked as Kagrimpa opened the wood stove with a poker and fussed at the growing flames inside. The barn had warmed, but Tracer's clothes were still wet, though drying quickly in the fire's heat. I did say the grinder, but nobody knows what it really is. It screeches like 1,000 kinds of chaos, and it's devouring the order. Kagrimpa closed the stove door, one city at a time. But what is it? Like I said, I don't know. Well, tell me what it looks like, Tracer said, patting the fronts of his wet pants. Its back is smooth and domed like a giant beetle. It's black as bog tar. Hundreds of legs jut from the sides. They thrum like the legs of a centipede when it moves. The thing is faster than anything that big should be. Its face is a giant blazing hole of 1,000 tendrils that grope from a sickening flood of reddish light. And it all appears to be covered in metal. Kagrimpa shuddered. The horrors devouring the order seem to be from a nightmare these days. As if war isn't already nightmare enough. So this grinder is shaped like a beetle, but made of metal, like a machine. No, machines are constructed. They don't grow. And machines can't be made as big as this thing. The grinder grows as it eats. It was already the size of the cathedral in Silentium when we fought it. I know exactly how big it was when I watched Spantha blow the dynamite charges and drop the cathedral like a soggy wad of linens against its side. That only managed to slow the thing for long enough so that most of the brigade could retreat to the gates. But it slurped the remains of that church into its mouth as if the stones were made of dry bread. The brigade had been retreating as orderly as that size of a retreat can be, but when the stampede started, things slowed down, and it feasted on us, gripping each soldier with its metallic pincher and yanking the poor soul into its mouth. Metallic pincher? That just sounds like a machine to me, Kagrimpa. Not a machine. This thing is alive. It behaves like living things do, cautious at times, crawling forward, flinching back. It's alive. The metallic parts might be some type of armor. It's magic, then. Not magic. If it were, it wouldn't be able to directly hurt anyone that doesn't fight with magic. Remember the wolves? They couldn't hurt us with magic, so they melted the snow off the trees and splashed us to freeze us to death, which might have worked had it not been for this barn. That was an indirect attack. If the grinder were magic, it wouldn't be able to grab people off the ground and suck them inside, while they scream for their mothers. His lip trembled, revealing a mouth of pointy coyote teeth. Kagrimpa was large for a coyote, but coyotes are smaller than children, and at the moment Kagrimpa looked almost delicate to Tracer. Living things don't have metal parts. Armor, sure, but you make it sound like the pinchers themselves were metal. It's a machine, I think. Boy, Trace, with all due respect, it's not a machine. Machines are stupid contraptions that can be destroyed with a pinch of sand thrown in the right place. I saw the spire of the Cathedral of Silentium fall like a rotted tree and smash into that thing's face. It flinched back, and then it screeched with anger. Machines don't get angry or feel pain. The machine would have ground to a stop and caught fire. It's not a machine. It's a demon that uses metal parts, maybe, but no machine. Nobody has been able to stop it. Make it flinch, sure. Delay it for a few minutes, maybe. But stop it? No way. Not even close. It just appeared last spring out of nowhere and started eating everything? I don't get it. Does anything in war make sense, Boy Trace? Kagrimpa shook his head and rubbed the fronts of his legs. They sat quietly in the warm barn and dried for 20 minutes. We should get a move on. We can cut through Firelith on our way south and lose the wolves' trail on us in the city, or more accurately, what's left of the city. The grinder got Firelith too? Way up here in the mountains? No, the war destroyed it. Somehow the darkness snuck an army in last summer, and the only reports that were received from Firelith were from the news service birds' sightings of the fighting on the streets as they flew by. The Bentham still stands, though. Last report, anyway. I remember the stories of the Bentham. Mr. Longitail loved it. Yes, the giant Bentham smelter. Tall as the tallest tower you've ever seen. It's where most of the Order's steel comes from. Kagrimpa paused. Came from. The shipments have all stopped. But then there's little need for construction steel and materials during war, except for weapons, of course. The Order's army lacks soldiers now, not weapons. Lacks soldiers? So we've lost that many? Mostly desertions, to be honest. But there were the battles lost with the Dark Army, like the battle we just survived. And there were the brigades that went to face the grinder and were never heard from again. No survivors. No reports. Kagrimpa paused. Let's get a move on. Just a little longer. My boots are still wet. Wolves don't care. They'll eat your guts in front of you while you're still alive, whether your boots are wet or not. Let's get moving. Just a sec. Tracer sat and tested the dampness of his soggy sock, still sloped over the table facing the wood stove. If the grinder's not a machine, and it's not magic, then I think you're right. It has to be alive. but it has metal appendages and armor. So it has to be smart enough to make them, or someone's making them for it, I think. Well, if it's alive, we'll kill it. If it's a machine, we'll smash it. If it's magic, we'll zap it, or whatever the sorcerers do. But some of the brigades have attacked it with piercing arsenic rockets and scored direct hits, but it didn't die. They have attacked it with lances equipped with sand pumps, but it didn't stop working. And the best sorcerers of the Order have done their hocus pocus, and all it did was ate everyone. No survivors. Arsenic rockets, what a good idea. Hemlock extract, ricin fluid, and batrachotoxin, all with piercing warheads launched in tandem to no avail. I don't think it's alive either, Boy Trace. The Oracle, then. What does the Oracle say? Tracer asked, flipping his steaming sock like a strip of bacon. Kagrimpa sighed. They said if we hold on to each other, all will be as it was, and if we fight for Umantai, we'll win the war, or something like that. But that's what everyone is doing, and we're losing pitifully. Their days in the Tower of Empirical Truth are numbered. Knock it off, Kagrimpa. If you believe we're losing, then why are you fighting? Why not just throw that satchel into the fire and be done with it? You don't believe we're losing. I know you. The darkness is very strong, Boy Trace. Yeah, but not stronger than us. We have to make that true, and we can't do it with you slabbering on that we're losing. Tracer, it's true. We are losing. Shut up, Kagrimpa. Tracer shook his head. I'm not going to learn anything if you're the partner I'm stuck with. I came here to learn. If this is what you offer, I'd just as soon go back through the fabric and struggle with the lies of the adults on that side. Take it easy, Boy Trace. It's just that almost everyone I knew before the war is a casualty. Sometimes it's hard to believe that this isn't what defeat looks like. Well, snap out of it. From outside came a loud swoosh and a flicker of orange light through the cracks in the barn. Put on your boots, Kagrimpa said and scooped his dagger off the table. It's time to go.